Hey Fae folk, welcome back. So for today's video, we're going to be doing a doll editing video, which I haven't been able to say in quite some time. Like it's been a minute since I've done this type of video. I think if memory serves, the last one was the Magic Mixies Pixelings, but like I honestly don't even remember. That's how long it's been. However, what I do remember is that in the last one that I posted, I promised that the next quote unquote fixing video would be for Bratz, and I am here to hold to that promise. We are going to be editing some Bratz looks today. So if you haven't seen this series of videos from me before, especially because, like I said, I haven't posted one in a minute, it's where I take a look at a doll brand and I pick out dolls that I just feel like need a little bit of editing to really reach their full potential. Most often, and especially with Bratz today, it's not like literally the worst of the worst when it comes to the dolls that brand has come out with, just because again, especially with Bratz, I sort of feel like the absolute worst, in my opinion, Bratz, I can't fix. Okay, that's above my pay grade. That's above my skill level. I can't do anything with that. But I just take dolls that I feel like could be altered a little bit to make really nice improvements. And I do that to the best of my sort of photo editing and like drawing skills. So as I said today, Bratz is on the chopping block. I always give this disclaimer that like, this is just my opinion. I'm fixing these dolls to be more to my taste. You might absolutely hate it, and that's fine. Like, it's not a big deal. You might love the original designs, and that's totally okay. But just please do be polite if you want to express that opinion, because it's not that serious. Like, they're just little plastic people, and I'm just making silly little edits. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into fixing up some Bratz. Okay, so for the Bratz specifically, I do want to go in order of my least favorite to my most favorite edits throughout the course of like doing these videos. Sometimes I do it this way, sometimes I do like my least dramatic to my most dramatic, but I just like, I feel like all of these are relatively similar in terms of how dramatic the difference is, and honestly, most of them are relatively subtle, like they're not super crazy changes. So I thought it would be fun to go with my least favorite and then end on my most favorite, because it's always fun to end a video on like a big shebang, right? So first up today, we're taking a look at the Neon Runway Yasmin, who I think is a very interesting doll, just because I do feel like her fashions are very much of the time, right? Like you look at this and it's like, they are sort of the time, especially the top with the peplum. I feel like I've seen a little bit of peplum maybe sort of coming back, but like it still gives me very much like 2010s sort of vibes, and the whole rest of the outfit does too. I think this is my least favorite just because this was one where I was like, okay, I want to make some edits because I have some ideas that I think could help her, but I didn't necessarily feel like I was going to end up liking this doll regardless, just because I'm not the biggest fan of the outfit. So that's why she's first. I promise it is only going to get better from here on out. But here is my edited version of the Neon Runway Yasmin. So I feel like immediately you notice the big chop with hair, which is something that I do relatively frequently when I do these videos. I just feel like I understand for hair play purposes why so many dolls have super long hair, but sometimes from a purely design standpoint, it's nice to like get some variation in there. I didn't take all of the length off, like it is still a decent length, but I just wanted to pull it up a little bit so you got more of the silhouette of the actual outfit. I just felt like that would be better. I did give her some detail on her earrings just because like the plain plastic, again, it's not uncommon with doll accessories, but it can be boring. And so I just wanted to add a little bit of like shimmer there, like kind of as though they're rhinestones. They're not great, okay? Editing skills, not top tier, but you get the gist. I also added like a little choker, like one of those stretchy chokers, just because first of all, those were also, I feel like, sort of the time. Second of all, those are always cute. I'm sorry. Like, you can think they're outdated if you want. Like, I understand that perspective. I wear them all the time. I still think they're really cute. So I wanted to give her a little one because, like, when am I not trying to give a doll a choker? If we're being honest, like, I feel like every outfit looks a little bit better with a choker. Then I also did bring in like the waist of the peplum. Not that I was trying to edit her body, like that wasn't the goal, but I just feel like with peplum, the whole point of that silhouette is to bring in more of this like illusion of like a super intense curve at the waist, whether or not the body underneath it actually has that. And I don't know if it was because of the fabric they chose or because it is like layered and it's on doll scale, so things bulk up a lot quicker. But I just felt like this was supposed to be giving more of that sort of snatched waist vibe than it actually does. So again, that wasn't me trying to be like, let's make Yasmin more of an hourglass. Her body's wrong. I tried to make it so that it wasn't like curving into where I thought her body would be. Now that I'm looking at it, maybe it was a little too much. But that wasn't the goal. The goal was just to be like, okay, let's make this fabric lay more like it would lay on a person size scale rather than a doll scale, where again, things can kind of get bulkier a little bit quicker. I did also bring in on like the midsection here. I always need to like check what layer I'm on. Like this, I just feel like is a pretty big gap, and I felt like it needed to be a little bit closer. So I also narrowed that gap up a little bit. I did toy around with adding a belt. Wasn't the move, at least in my opinion. So we just like cinched that in a little bit again to give more of that illusion of like a very snatched waist without actually having that. I did give her some nail polish just because like why not? It's cutie patootie. And then in the original, it really does bother me. This is something I complain about so frequently. Like y'all are probably sick of hearing this. I like for colors and accent colors to be present throughout the entire design, usually. Every once in a while, I do think it's fun to just have like one single pop of a color or like a very eclectic outfit where like all of the colors are different. But for the most part, I like for things to be a little bit more balanced. And so with this original design, the way the purple is all in the hair and the eyes, and then from the nose down, everything is pink, really just didn't mesh with me. So my way of fixing that was to add a little bit of purple as the nail polish, but also did a purple gradient with her little leggings here, just because like she's already wearing hot pink leggings. Okay, they're already a statement. I can't really make it more of a statement. So I just felt like the little ombre did sort of suit again the time period and the fashion, and also brought some of that purple lower down. So I just thought that it looked a little bit better. And then lastly, I'm just realizing that I missed one down here, but I tried to add some like silver detail to the like O-rings on her boots so that there was just a little bit of painted detail on there. It's nothing like insane, nothing crazy, but I feel like it helps. So again, I wouldn't say that this doll has now been edited to like a doll that I would purchase, but I do think that just like a few little details, a few little changes here and there definitely elevated her, at least in my opinion. Next up, we have Featherageous Jade, who I will say is a doll that I honestly already kind of like. I think I just really like dolls in maxi dresses because it's not something that I feel like we see that often. Like 9 times out of 10, more than that, honestly, if a doll is in a long dress, it's some sort of gown. Like it's like a ball gown or a mermaid dress or something like that. I feel like very rarely do we get these super casual, very long dresses. And I like it. It's like a fun little vibe. I don't know. It just really stands out to me. I love her existing dress. I love the harness situation that she's got going on. She's got some kind of funky hair. I thought this was a good start. I just wanted to make a few little twitches. That's not the right word. A few little changes. We'll just go with that. Just to really, again, elevate her even beyond where she is now. So here is my edited version of Jade. I did darken up her lip just because I wanted it to match. I know you don't have to match your makeup to your outfit, but it's fun, okay? So I darkened up her lip to match a little bit. Nice. I did also add some pink stripes on her dress, not because I didn't like the original dress, but just because she has like the one pink strand of hair that I believe is a clip-in, if I'm not mistaken. Like if you have this doll, let me know because I definitely don't. But like again, the balance. I needed some more pink to be in this design, so I just added a few kind of random stripes there. I thought it would be fun. I feel like she like has the sort of style where having just a few little like random like blocks of color on her dress is very in line with her style. So we went for that. I did also add a bracelet to match her earrings because like, can you ever have too many accessories? I would argue no. Then okay, I just changed the shape of her shoes a little bit because in the original here, like, I'm on the wrong layer. The way that her toe like kicks up like that, I don't know, just like a little bit crazy to me. So I dang it, I have all the, there we go. We'll just go with that. I always end up on the wrong layer and then I have like marks in places that I don't want there to be marks. We're good now though. So yeah, in this edited version, you can see I just sort of uncurled her toes. Because what is that? And then the last change that I made, I don't know what this like would be called on the pink stripe of hair because I added little black stripes going along it because I thought it would be fun. Her dress is already so stripy and I thought it would be cool to have stripes going in the opposite direction on that piece of hair just because it's a little bit funky. I don't know what you call this anymore because it used to have a name, but like that name back in like scene era when scene was like super popular was also like a slur, like a slur was part of the name, so I don't want to say it or use it. So if you know what I'm talking about with these, with like the vertical stripes in the hair, let me know what that is being called now, because I would like to have a name for it. I did it, but I obviously don't want to say anything that is like offensive and rude and awful. So yeah, those were the edits that I made for Jade. Again, not that extreme. We are getting up to like the more intense edits. I just thought this was fun. I think she's a very interesting doll to begin with. Like she has a very striking look, and I just wanted to try to make it even more striking. Alrighty, that brings us to the Wild Wild West Yasmin, who I will say, not necessarily my exact style, but very good base doll in most like areas. The plastic hat, the like janky dollar from the party store plastic cowboy hat, killing me. That was like the number one thing that I zeroed in on, and that I was like, okay, I need to do an edit of this doll so that I can give her literally anything else, because what on earth, she deserves so much better than that. But I do think a lot of this is very cute. So this is another one, like it's a little bit more extreme than we have been getting, but like we're doing subtle changes. Sometimes that's all you need. And I do think that it's kind of interesting to do these and be like, oh, isn't it cool how such a small change can make such a big difference? Anyway, I'm blabbing. Here is my edited version of the Wild Wild West Yasmin. I did make her lips ever so slightly more purple. It's not a big change, but I did it anyway, because again, I'm a sucker for matching the makeup to the outfit. I know that's not everyone's vibe, but it is definitely my vibe. I did try to like blur out and make the hat a little bit less shiny so that it looked less like plastic, because she would not be wearing plastic. Come on now, not like a plastic hat. That's just ludicrous to me. I also made it purple because why not? And I did also add a band around it. I'm not 100% sure what you would call that. I don't know hats that well, but I just felt like not only was this plasticky, but it was so plain. Like I just wanted something a little bit more interesting. I did replace her earrings as well, because I just didn't feel like those were working. I really like the silver detail on her belt, and I did use that in like the hat as well. I actually just like took the belt and copy pasted, moved it around a little bit to the hat. It's fine, okay? You get the idea. But yeah, I liked that silver accent. And with the hat being purple, I felt like I had enough purple, especially around the face area. So I replaced them with some silver earrings. I think that looks so much better. It's obviously less plasticky looking. And just, I feel like the contrast is a little bit nicer. I lowered the neckline a smidgen. I don't know. I just feel like with these sort of like overlay tops, I had to make sure. Right layer this time. Like when you have this sweetheart neckline, this just feels like a really weird midpoint for me. I like, this is probably a bad color to be using as like a editing color. I like when they're high neck with that sort of sweetheart neckline. I think that's a fun way to layer it with like a turtleneck or like a sheer high neck shirt underneath. That's really solid. Or having it be lower. I went with lower. I just felt like it fit the vibe better. Like turtleneck doesn't really scream Western to me necessarily. So I just lowered it a little bit just because I feel like personally I like the neckline a little bit better that way. And then the last edit was with her boots. And all I did there was add some purple detailing just so you get a little bit of that detail, because there is like some decent sculpted detail on the original. It's kind of hard to see because some of these images are not the highest quality, but like there is some nice sculpted detail. And so I just thought it would be cool to bring out some of that detail and be able to actually see it. And I just think she looks so cute. Okay. This is now where we're in the territory of, if she had come out like this, I would have wanted this doll, because I just think she's such a cutie patootie this way. She's just a little purple cowgirl having like a great time. And I really, really love it. Almost done here. The last two entries for today's video are going to both be Chloe dolls, and this one I feel like is not surprising that I brought her up. So this is the Going Out Chloe. I always almost call this the Always Bratz Chloe, and that's a beautiful doll. I don't know why those two lines get mixed up in my head. I mean, they're like two recent Bratz lines, so that sort of makes sense. But anyway, this is the Going Out Chloe, who I genuinely just cannot stand. I think every step of the way, like her individual pieces aren't necessarily terrible, but the way they're all combined on this final doll, it's so rough to me. So I wanted to try to fix her. And the only way I could think to fix this doll was to really just lean into the aesthetic that she's got going on here. Like without redressing her completely, what else are you supposed to do? Hi, kitten. Hi, sweet baby. You come to visit me. She's quiet. She just woke up from a nap. She's a tired little baby. I know, you're so cutie. I know, princess. Anyway, back to Chloe. So sorry. But yeah, like, what was I gonna do? Give her an entirely new outfit? On an actual doll, sure, but for an edit, that's kind of not the purpose. So we leaned into it. I did use this image where she's not wearing the god-awful cardigan that she comes with, because that wasn't going to fit in for me, but I did feel like with this base, I could make this better. So here's my edited version of Going Out Chloe. We're just going to go top to bottom. I guess that's probably the easiest way to go through the edits that I made. So I gave her a black headband. She's got a lot of other like black accents in her design, so it just kind of felt right to tie that in on top of her head as well. Mostly I just wanted to add a headband, and then it was like, okay, black seems like the perfect color to do that with. I just feel like it really works with this particular hairstyle. Something about this just screams needed a headband. This is kind of harder to see, but I did also try to like extend this portion of the hair, because like on the doll's head, I think the way that it's laying is because on the back of her head, it's like rooted up here. Whereas on a human being, hair is naturally something that comes like further down, like towards your neck, right? I understand with like the proportions of the dolls and everything, like I get why Bratz aren't necessarily rooted like that, and I get why she looks like that, but it does to me just look a little bit unnatural. So I did try to like make her pigtails and everything just feel a little bit more like they actually are coming out of her head, I guess is a good way to put it. I did darken up her blush and give her some nose blush because I adore blush. It's one of my favorite like pieces of makeup. I think it's so pretty, and I just felt like it worked with this vibe. Like it has sort of an innocent look to it, and that definitely to me fits the rest of the clothing that she's got going on. Then I changed the pants just a little bit. I did bring them in a tinge around the knee, just because I think that the reason they are looser is because they're a pleather material, and I didn't want them to be a pleather material in my version of this doll, because what? Why did that happen? I just think it's really weird. So I thinned them out a little bit, not because I hated like the silhouette necessarily, but just because I felt like it would look a little bit less like pleather. And then I also smoothed out and like ended up darkening a little bit the tone of the pants so that they didn't have the pleather texture and like the shine all over them. Because again, I don't want you to look at these and think that's leather. Like, ugh, just such a weird choice. And then the last thing after doing all of that was, hold on. Oh, I lied. Not the last thing. I didn't even realize I brought up her pigtails, but I brought up her pigtails a little bit as well. Again, just like a small chop. I feel like they hit really nicely at sort of like the upper thigh here, whereas the lower thigh by the knee, it's just a lot of volume because she's got ruffles at the knee. I think this is a little bit more into that cutie patootie range. And then I gave her a bag. I did want to go with a wicker bag, and I found this one that had like the black with it, and I thought that that tied in perfectly because again, she's got black accents all over, and the t-shirt, that's not a t-shirt. Why did I say that? The shirt she has on is obviously kind of giving picnic vibes. Hi, Miss Baby. And so I wanted to give her a wicker bag so that that was also vaguely picnic vibes. And listen, I popped off with this, okay? Like, I feel so good about this one, so confident about this one. She looks so much better to me. This is still not an aesthetic that I necessarily am drawn to. I don't know that I would buy her, but like compared to this, especially with the sweater, the cardigan that she has, listen, this is so much better. I feel so good about this one. And then, as I said, the last one is also a Chloe. This is the Sea Stunners Chloe. And okay, number one thing I need to address is this lip situation here. This is like what happens on a real person's lips, okay? Like this is what happens on my lips if I wear, honestly, any dark color. Like it's very noticeable when I wear like black or like gray lipstick, but even a dark red, even this now, it might be happening where like the wet inside part of my lip is kind of rubbing off. And so you can see this line of demarcation. Why does she have that? She's a doll. And this was something that was weirdly common amongst the dolls that I was looking at in this era. I don't think that a single one of these Bratz is like pre 2010. Like, I think they're all past that. Not because I was like unwilling to touch any of the ones pre 2010, but just because the stock photos started to get a lot dicier. So it was just like easier to sort of stick to semi more recent releases because the stock photos are a little bit better quality. But yeah, this was something that I saw a lot, and it wasn't as noticeable on other dolls. Even like other ones in here have some of that. But with this one, because it's silver against the pink, like if it's pink on pink and they're just two slightly different pinks, you can't really tell. But this is like exactly what happens if I wear black lipstick. Like this is how I end up looking. And I just don't think it looks good. I don't know why they did that. Because again, this isn't a real person with real lips that are wet, that are naturally going to like remove product. This is a doll. You could have printed it on perfectly. So that really bothered me. So it's no surprise that I do fix that. There are a few other things that I edited though. And I just genuinely love this edit so much. So here's my version of the Sea Stunner's Chloe. We're going to go bottom up this time actually because face I think is my favorite part that I changed. So I did change like the shape of her tail a little bit. I understand before any of y'all like say anything. I know the reason her tail is originally like thick and shaped like this is because you might be able to guess from the shoes on the side here. The tail is removable on the actual doll, and like she can wear a regular like outfit and have human legs and all of that jazz. So I fully understand why the tail is like super thick on the actual doll. However, I'm not editing an actual doll. This is an image. And so for me, I wanted to thin the tail out because I have said this like several times. I prefer mermaid tails to not be like that. I want my mermaid tails to be thin and fat fins, okay? Like I just like that shape better for me personally. I just think that that's really cute. Or if you go like super like big, like chubby mermaid and you do like a fat tail where it's like, bwank, 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 like that's cutie. But this like sort of in between that the original doll has, again, I understand why. But if I'm just looking at an image and I don't have to take into account any sort of practicality, because no one is going to remove the tail on the edited version of this doll, I prefer it to be thinned out a little bit more. I think it's because it looks less human. Like it looks less like she's hiding legs under there. So I think that's why I like it so much. So I did thin out like around the knees and everything for the tail to give it more of that shape that I tend to enjoy. And then I brought up some of the sparkles into the like breastplate situation that she's got going on. I didn't want to overdo it. Like I did originally have honestly significantly more sparkles on the raised like dots that are sculpted on there. And then I was like, that's too much. We went too far, which is crazy because I adore glitter. Like, I can't believe I'm saying that. I might need to go to a doctor and be sure that I'm okay. But no, like, I did just feel like it was sort of too much. So I wanted to just follow this midline because you can see on the original, like, she has all this stuff on her tail originally, and it's really just centered in the center of her tail. So I wanted to just draw it up and sort of have that kind of continuing, only I wanted to do the dots so that it flowed well with the sculpt. I just thought it looked cuter that way. And then coming to the face, which is the best part to me. Obviously, I fixed the lips. I spent a good chunk of time complaining about those. Of course, I fixed the lips. I also darkened up her makeup. I just thought it was cute. Like, I gave her some more blush. Bratz, I feel like, don't have that much blush on them, generally speaking. To be fair, at the time this doll came out, I don't think blush was, like, nearly as big a deal as it sort of... It's not even anymore, but, like, as it sort of became for a little bit there. I still love blush, so I gave her a little bit more blush, and then I gave her more of a darker, like, smoky eye. I just feel like it works. Not to say that she doesn't have a smoky eye here, but, like, the big thing is I added more eyeshadow underneath her eye to, like, really make it more dramatic. She's wearing silver lipstick, for God's sake. Like, she can have a smoky eye, okay? This is not a neutral makeup look. But the number one thing that I changed, the thing that instantly made this my favorite edit, because, like, honestly, the other Chloe I edited first, and I was like, ooh, this is really good. This might be the big finale for the video. The bangs! Y'all, I popped off giving her bangs. Like, look at how much different she looks. Just the face. That's crazy. Like, she looks so much better with the bangs. It's not even funny. I really like pulling the blue further in too, just because, like, there is a lot of paleness going on. She's got a very, very platinum blonde hair. She herself is quite pale. She's got super pale silvery lips. the silver on her outfit is like less pale, but it is still like a very light color. And even the blue is like a light blue, but I just feel like adding the blue in the bangs, giving her more blue. Oh my God. I can't stop staring at her. I actually genuinely love this so much. Like, not to toot my own horn, but like I should have been in the room. I should have been like, hey, give her bangs. Even if you're going to do everything else, even if you're going to give her the weird lips, give her bangs. I just think it looks really cute. And I feel like she looks so much more like a diva like this. Like, this isn't a terrible doll. It's a mermaid doll. I like mermaids, so like that might be playing into it. I think this is fun, especially I think it's cool that they gave her more of an armor sort of top because like a lot of the times I feel like mermaids are depicted in sort of a delicate way. So I think that's really fun and cool. But this, I'm so proud of this one. But yes, guys, those are going to be all of the Bratz edits that I had to share with you today. This was so fun to get to do again. Like I said, it has been a minute since I posted one of these videos, so it has also been a minute since I've done this little artistic exercise and like looked through dolls and sort of made these edits to them. And it's always such a fun time. Like I love just getting to stretch those creative muscles a little bit and like do something like this and share it with y'all. It's always such a good time. So I'm really, really glad to have jumped back into it. As per usual, I obviously want to know which of the edits was your favorite. If you hated all of them, you can tell me that too. Just please be nice because I'm sensitive. But no, I'm always curious to see what you guys think about the edits and like if my favorite is also your favorite or like maybe my least favorite was your favorite. It's just fun to hear y'all's opinions. I do know that at some point someone had requested that I do this for Bratzilla's, and I think La La Lucy of all things. I think that was the other one that I have written down. So let me know if you guys are interested in seeing either of those or if there's any other brands that you want me to do this for. I have done so many brands, so like I don't really know how many are left, but if you want to see more, definitely let me know in the comments down below. But that is going to be it for me for today, guys. I do hope you're able to enjoy. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day or your night or whatever it might be, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.